Welcome to Zack Attacker Reviews. When I first saw the trailer for Woman King, I got really excited because I saw that it was being directed by Gina Prince-bythewood, who did Love and Basketball, The Old Guard, Beyond the Lights, The Secret Life of Bees. I think she's an underrated director who's done small scope movies for the black community for mostly and hasn't really hit mainstream until The Old Guard, which I think she did a great job with. And now that I saw that she could do action really well, I was like, wow, she's doing this big screen, big budget adaptation of a real African kingdom and their Amazonian warriors. That's going to be great. And then I saw the trailer and it looked like it was like a R-rated prequel to Black Panther about the Dora Milaje, who were inspired by the ladies of this film. Everything was going so great until a couple weeks ago. The historical inaccuracies of this movie started coming out, and it kind of made a lot of people's motivation to see this movie a little tepid. But I went in with an open mind. I wanted to see what this great director and the great Viola Davis and the great other supporting cast members of this were going to give us. If it was going to be a fully Hollywoodized movie where they just like gloss over all the atrocities that this kingdom did, or was it going to touch on it? Before I get into what the exact premise of the movie is about, hit that like button if you like this kind of content, subscribe to the channel as well, and share this with other enthusiasts of movie, films, TV shows, and reactions and reviews. Now with that said, let's talk about what the movie's about. The Woman King is a 2022 American historical epic film about the Ogoje, the all-female warrior unit that protected the West African kingdom of Dahomey during the 17th to 19th centuries. In this film, it picks up in the 1820s. The film stars Viola Davis as a general who trains the next generation of warriors to fight their enemies that's brewing in the other tribes. Let's talk about the good. Viola Davis is an absolute powerhouse in this film, and she plays the general of the Ogoje, Aniska. I'm sorry if I'm saying any of the names incorrectly. They did say them a bunch of times in the movie, but the accents were kind of thick in certain parts, and I'm just not really good with foreign names. But she did a fantastic job of this character, an Oscar-worthy performance, again, by this once-in-a-lifetime generational talent that we have in Viola Davis. She is fierce, she's complex, she really put herself in this role to get her body, it's like superhero ready, warrior ready, where it looks very believable that not only she could take down some of these men, but then also on the battlefield, she moved like a general. She didn't take on those big guys straight on and was a Mary Sue. She got knocked down, got back up, and why this tribe was so successful under her reign. Even though being a total badass is part of her character and a major part of her character, she also is a warrior that is hopeful. She sees this tribe who is selling her brethren and her people and the women for trade with the Europeans to get guns and bounty and money and supplies so they can continue to be a wealthy kingdom in the African continent. She also sees that there's a war brewing between other tribes who have the same ideal and wants to wipe them out. With that said, we have other supporting characters who are fantastic as well. She's not carrying this movie by herself. I want to shout out Lashana Lynch, who does a fantastic job as the character Ngozi. She trains all the underlings and the people who are coming into the warrior Ogoje unit for the first time and getting them battle ready. She's funny, she's snarky, she brings a lot of humor to the role, but also a lot of earnest, and she's just really good with Viola Davis. Their on-screen battle chemistry, like a lot of characters have chemistry where they play fun off each other, but the way they fight together just makes them two believable badass women that just outsmarts everyone and can just kick anyone's ass. She did a great job playing like the alley-ooper to Viola Davis in a lot of scenarios in this film. And while there's a lot of fantastic people in the supporting cast of this film, some of the people that I can't pronounce their name, the breakout star of the film is Thuso Bedu. And why is she? Because she's the outsider. She's abandoned by her family and taken in by the Ogoje and trained to become part of them. She goes through a bunch of trials, but because of this, we get to see the inner workings and interactions, and the way she explores it and is surprised, we are also too. She's our eyes, so you get really connected to her character. She's also kind of snarky, but in a different way, in a more of a naive, I'm young, I know better, I can do better than these older people kind of way, and we just see her evolve as the movie goes on. And there's a lot of storylines that she has a part of that is surprising and has a bit of a twist to it as well that make her character very important and very crucial. And then she goes through these trials and become a warrior and join forces with the Gohoge. They are a force. The battle scenes in this movie are Braveheart Gladiator level. It's fierce, it's brutal. They take the PG-13 extent of this movie to the innermost. It's just straddling that line so much. I couldn't believe this was a PG-13 film, and I thought that it was very well choreographed. All the ladies involved that were doing the stunts were great, and also the actors, when the stunts that they were involved in, they looked absolutely fantastic. They were fully committed, and I was never at any point that I was like, yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense, because they fought in a tactical way that made them have the advantage over these stronger, bigger men that they were fighting over most of the time. The action is definitely a crowd pleaser. There was a lot of oohs and ahs and ohs in the movie theater that I watched this in with the crowd. They were really engaged in it, and everything is just well thought out and was really, really, really well done. Even the longer sequences didn't feel like it was just being stretched out, because there was inner storylines within the battle. It wasn't just battle for battle's sake. And like I said, this movie is Gladiator Braveheart scope, and the movie also takes that and delves into some very complicated layer themes and storylines, because the Dahomey tribe, like I said, was involved in the West African slave trade, trading their own to get supplies, and it dwells a little bit into that as well, and how conflicted a lot of the people were and how some were not. They were comfortable with the way they were because they felt like royalty, and they didn't want things to change, because change brings other complications. So that battle ideology goes in there, because this becomes a little bit of political thriller and an action film at the same time, and each aspect was interesting. They found a way to make each part engaging. John Boyega plays the king, and he was also fantastic in the film as well. He was a character that I liked because he was trying to be progressive, but sometimes he was an asshole, and it made it a layer like, okay, he has flaws, he has a way about him that makes you like, oh, I like him, he's progressive, but then he does certain things like, wait, hold up, maybe he's not. So it was like a back and forth with a lot of characters. It was a lot of shades of gray, and things, just some of the things that they touched on were like, you know, the complications of selling your own, and how can we go about it a different way? Can we go to war with the other tribes or even the Europeans? What happens to these people once they're enslaved, and things like that. There's a little bit more things that are deeper that I don't want to spoil. There's storylines and topics that they bring up that should spark conversation that I don't want to get too deep into, and you should enjoy or just mull over when you watch the movie. But I'm really, really glad that a Hollywood big film like this that has a lot of action and it has a lot of fun character moments found ways to incorporate political and crazy things that we don't really think about every day. And on a technical level, Gina and the crew that she built around her did a fantastic job with the camera work, the cinematography, the sound design, the music, the choreography for the action, like I said before, and everything is well crafted and looks fantastic. The costumes and the clothing that everyone wears, the weaponry, everything looks like it was well made and thought out. It had so much detail, and the movie is harrowing, heartfelt, and heartbreaking at the same time, because these warriors are not just all mundane one-note warriors. They all have distinct personalities that you'll have your own different favorite and you'll attach to, and when things happen and, you know, there's some heft to the action that's going on, you feel attached and you feel the wanting of everyone wants to survive. Let's talk about the bad. So I felt like some of the movie, especially in the middle, meandered just a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit, where they were focusing on the training montages and the celebrations and parts of the culture, which I really, really liked and wanted to see, but I wish that it dwelled a little bit more into the trading of the African slaves, and also them going to other tribes and saving their own, and how that worked out, because it opens like that and it kind of doesn't go back to it right away. I just feel like it wasn't a strong balance of the celebration of African culture and some of the negative things that this tribe has done. And with that said, the second negative that I have, and this is more for people who are already protesting this movie because they feel like it's glamorizing this tribe that did terrible things. In a way, it is, but just like how Braveheart, like I stated, Gladiator, even something like The Greatest Showman, Elvis, just kind of ignores all the atrocities and bad things those individuals or those kingdoms did. This one Hollywoodize it in a certain way, but still manages to touch on the subject and talk about how complicated and messed up it is. So it doesn't kind of just sweep it under the rug completely, but it doesn't make it as demonizing as it actually was in real life. They try to make these people more noble than maybe they actually were. So it might affect your viewing depending on how much you can remove that aspect out of your mind. Let's talk about verdict. Despite the historical inaccuracies and some of the Hollywoodizing of the themes that goes on in this movie and what it's based on, I think that this movie is fantastic and a definite crowd pleaser. Action is great. On a technical level is great. Gina and crew did a fantastic job telling a very complicated but accessible story that everyone can enjoy because it's no like nudity or it's not too graphic of action, and I think this is something that you should go in and watch and enjoy in the theater. And with that said, I'm gonna give it a B. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate The Woman King? If you saw it, drop your thoughts down below in the comments. Tell me what you liked, your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and who was your favorite performance. If you didn't see the film yet, did this review make you feel like this is something that you're gonna check out or in the theater or wait on streaming? If you like my review, hit that like button and please subscribe to the channel if you like the reviews, reactions, and ranking lists, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when those things come up and you catch more of my content right now.